All right. So maybe first things first. I'll give you some more conversion rates because I feel like um, I guess the one I would expect you to know or have expected you to know is that 1 kilometer. Let's add that to this section here. 1 kilometer has 1,000 meters. And that in combination with the other ones that I've given you should have allowed you to figure out how many miles or how many kilometers in a mile or vice versa. But I'm a nice teacher, so here you go. 1 mile has 1.6093 kilometers. Oops, that's off script there. So 1 mile has 1.6093 kilometers. It turns out that 1 mile has their nice wake-up call. 1 kilometer, 1,000 meters. 1 mile has this many kilometers, which means that it has that many meters, right? Just because 1 kilometer has 1,000 meters, we can just multiply that by 1,000 and get our meters that way. Which other one? So I guess I'm gonna say this. 1 kilometer does not have 1,760 yards. 1 mile does. Okay, so this is true, but on my answer key, 1 kilometer is not the equivalent of 1,760. So just make sure on your study sheet you scratch that one. Okay. Is there another one that you're missing that you can think of? We're good. Okay. So maybe add these to your study sheet. I would expect you to know these ones. And then on page 5, I need you to go, and perhaps even on your study sheet, I need you to change that. Did I have distance on top? Yeah, so my bad. Make sure you change that. It's liters divided by distance times 100. And distance would be kilometers. So I should maybe clarify that. We wouldn't want that in miles. Let's see. All right. Keep going. So fix that on your study sheet as well, right? So you're warned now. So then we go to page 7. I think I'm gonna. I don't have time to do every single one, but I think I'm gonna go to the fuel economy part, and that should clarify any questions you have about, because they're all similar, right, in nature. So basically there will be some sort of conversion, in which case you multiply and cancel out units. But then sometimes it's like, hey, what if this, right? If the rate is true, how long would it take, to travel this distance? Or how many liters would you need to travel this distance? Or it could be the other way around. If you have 50 liters in the tank and this rate is true, right, how far could you drive with it? That is a proportion. That is key. That is giveaway for setting up a proportion with an equal sign. Okay. So here we have that rate, very important, right? That is always true. That doesn't change. So 8.8 liters per 100 kilometers. Now, could we change this to gallons per, a certain amount of miles? Sure, we could, right? But it would still be, this is still true. So this is your rate, okay? Now, watch this. How many liters would be required to travel a certain distance? Okay, it's not asking you to convert this rate, correct? It's not asking you to convert that rate. It's It's giving you partial information and asking you for the other piece, right? Given partial info, right? Proportions. Set up a proportion. So I will go rate, right? 8.8 liters over 100 kilometers. And how many liters? So that would mean X liters to travel 840 miles. But that's a problem. Do you see that? It will be a problem. My units do not add up, even though both are talking volume, right? Both are amount of fuel, sorry, not volume, distance in this case, miles, kilometers. So I need to do a side conversion. Convert on the side. So here, yes, here I'm going to use the just converting rates and cancel out, right? And then I'm going to come back to this. So 840 miles, I know that 1 mile has 1.6093 kilometers, right? Cancel, cancel. And do I have that in my answer key to make it a little faster? 1,351.812 kilometers. Okay, so this I bring back to here. Okay, and I might add an arrow. Okay, let's get an arrow going in there. Okay, and now I can continue solving my proportion. So some converting necessary, sometimes beforehand, sometimes afterwards, it's up to you. So I told you how to do this. You go to where your variable is, cross multiply and divide. Okay, so 1351, just make sure you show me the work. Sometimes students want to just cut steps, right? This is already a shortcut, by the way, right? So just show your work, and that gives you 118.96 liters, okay? So basically what you just answered is that if this is true, right, in order to travel 840 miles, you'll need this many liters of fuel. Basically, you're planning your trip, right? You say, okay, I'm going to go to Minneapolis, right? It's about 800, Google Maps tells me it's 840 miles. So let's see how far or how many liters I would need, because you want to know how much fuel you need to make the trip, right? So this is your final answer here. And then if fuel costs this much per liter, calculate the cost of traveling 840 miles. Now, I was just helping someone with this. We already know, right? To travel this distance, we already know that's how many liters we need. So to be honest, you could just do this. Cost is just liters, right? Times, in this case, the price per liter. That's all I would do here. So I would go 118.96 liters times 279, okay? And that would give me the total cost there, which is 247.32. So that by instinct, this is what you should have leaned towards. However, if you want to stick with the plan, you can say, well, okay, if it's $2.079 for 1 liter, right? So you can put or here if you want, right? Then if I need this many liters, okay, right? What would be the total cost, right? What would be the total cost? How much would that cost me? So liters with liters, dollars with dollars, right? They're lined up, they're paired up. So you cross multiply and divide, and you'll end up with the same answer, right? 118.96 times 2.079 over 1. I just need you to see that, you know, there isn't just one way of solving these questions. Okay? As long as you show me your work, you'll be fine. So again, I can highlight this, right? This is a rate, and it was given there. So quite often, if you set up your proportion, you start with your rate and then fill in what you already know and then solve for the unknown. We're good? Okay. Let's move on. Oh, there was one more here, right? How many miles could you travel on 45 liters? Again, it's not asking you to convert a rate to some other units. It's right. It's giving you partial information, and you need to figure out the rest, right? So, how many miles could you travel with 45 liters? What would you use to get you started? What is true? What hasn't changed about the car? This is still true. It hasn't changed, right? We're still talking about the same car. So my approach here, right, would be, okay, 8.8 liters to travel 100 kilometers. Well, I can at least figure out, if I have 45 liters, I can figure out how many kilometers I can travel with that based on this. So here we go. Cross multiply and divide. So 45 times 100 divided by 8.8. I'm going to peek here. Oh, I see. I did it different on the key. But this is nice to see that it works either way. So I'm going to have to go like this. That's probably the most frustrating part about this unit, is that there's not just one way of doing it. So I'm going to use, because I'm not done yet, I could travel this many kilometers with 45 liters. Okay, watch this. You can actually just take this and just multiply it by that conversion rate, right? That 1 mile has 1.6093 kilometers. Okay, cancel out. There's nothing wrong with saying it, because this, it's basically multiplying this by a fraction of 1 over 1, right? Because these are equivalent, right? And so that would be, if I divide that by 1.6093, that'd be 317.76 according to this miles. And some of you are like, but Mr. Jackson, your answer key says 7.5. It's because I did it a different, I used a different rate, and that's okay. So this is your final answer in this case. Okay. Does that help? Yeah? Some of you seem a little unsure about it. But, we're going to try to get better at it. Okay, so I'm going to stop this here to start